Time and Space by Steve Parker. The murderer's fist slips past my face with millimeters to spare as muscles tighten all down my right side. My left shoulder slips forward and down, and my head jerks off-center in a synchronized melody of defensive maneuvering. It's so simple. I can't believe my luck. There must have been a flaw somewhere in his training. Every boxer starts with a few, but they're meant to be ironed out over time by trainers and sparring. Certainly by the time they make it here to the big show. The jab is the most utilized punch in boxing. How could his be this sloppy? Every learner starts the same way, throwing a lazy punch vaguely forward, using only the power of the arm itself, then dropping down towards the waist before being brought back to guard, if ever. The arm punch has no power without the body behind it. The dropping arm leaves you too open for counters. From start to finish, a bad punch. A good trainer will pick you up on it right away, make you throw with the whole body. Feet turning, hips twisting, back surging, all that force, all that movement being concentrated into a few knuckles which fly almost faster than the eye can see, straight for their target, then pulling back after impact just as fast, just as straight, back to guard, covering the giant weak spot which is the chin. Hands up, chin down is a constant cry in the first years, reminding the new fighter of the beginnings of defensive technique. But something must have gone wrong in this fighter's training. The jab is supposed to fly from nowhere with no hint that it's about to be fired. Most beginning fighters tense their shoulder muscles, preparing to fire the shot. A suicidal tell which any good trainer will eradicate over time. Straight out, straight back, no clue, only damage. It's the first punch, the first step leading to victory. This man must have had bad trainers, that's all there is to it. It's almost insulting, actually. Who does he think he is? He should not be in the ring with me. I am far out of his league. I watch his fist fly past my face in slow motion as he throws another lazy jab, so easy to avoid. He told me it was coming, with his face suddenly puckered in concentration, with his shoulder suddenly tensed in preparation to throw, with his front foot stepping in to close the distance. So much of boxing is footwork. The untrained don't even know. How you stand, how you step, how you set yourself to throw a punch. Most people don't want to train footwork, head movement, parries, and all the other accoutrements of the guard. Defensive practice is long and boring, and mostly folks just want to hit things. Hit the focus mitts on the trainer's hands, listening for the loud crack of a well-placed strike. Hit the heavy bag, trying to dent the leather with the power of your punch. Huge, thudding blows, making the bag swing wildly, telling all and sundry, "Look how hard I can hit. You don't want to fight me." Yes, I sneer. Yes, I do. It's almost laughable. Strength doesn't win fights. Hitting hard doesn't win fights. Speed wins fights. Technique wins fights. Mind games win fights. I am very good at mind games. My reflexes are honed. My footwork is sharp. My technique is crisp. More than that, though, I am clever. Cunning, some might say. I set traps and wait for you to walk into them. "Oh, look," I say. "Here's a hole in my defenses. I sure do hope you don't take advantage and punch me right here where I'm expecting you." And they do. It's pathetic, really. They throw their punch at the hole I show them, little realizing just how prepared I am to slip their attack, my good right hand cocked like a rifle, ready to deliver my counterpunch with staggering speed and force into your weakest places. Sometimes the body, sometimes the face. It depends on what I want to do. Body shots slow them down and drain their endurance. Headshots end them. Again and again and again, this sort of thing has worked for me. It's the punch you don't expect which knocks you out. I watch my opponent's shoulder bunch up, and I prepare myself, barely hiding a grin. If only he knew how obvious he was. His trainers must be really terrible, and his sparring partners doubly so. This is another problem with fighters, and one not often mentioned. loyalty. They go to one gym and they stick with it for better or worse. They train with the same people day in, day out. They spar with the same fighters every time. They develop patterns, lazy patterns, patterns which I joyfully and mercilessly exploit. His tensed shoulder releases and I watch his jab fly out. I play with time a little, leaving my head in the path of the fist for as long as I can before jerking my upper body to the side, easily slipping the punch yet again. I'm starting to get a little angry, honestly, and very soon I will make him pay. I'm going to have to punish this fool and his whole half-assed training camp. But how dare he come into the ring so woefully unprepared? How dare his trainers send in a fighter with such sloppy skills to face a warrior of my caliber? Only a fool or a beginner would throw a jab that bad. So easy to see, so easy to avoid. Only an absolute moron would... Somewhere an alarm triggers in my mind. It is a beginner's mistake. It is something no experienced fighter would do. So what am I missing? I'm well out of range of his jab. I can afford a little time. I look down. From the depths, a rising fist. Hidden behind the easy jabs and feeding on my arrogance and contempt. I had been complacent, and I was going to pay. The words of my own cornerman came back to me. "You're good," he said, "but not that good. You're too confident in your speed. Remember the sequence of defeat. Confident, cocky, lazy, dead. If you keep this up, you're going to get caught." He was right. My opponent was doing exactly what I have done so many times to lesser fighters, and I had fallen for his trap. I was so busy judging his lazy jabs, his sloppy technique, that it never occurred to me that he might have something clever planned himself. I should have kept an eye on what his other hand was doing. What it was doing was flying straight up, out of sight, towards the weakest spot on my jaw. I noted his feet, perfectly turned to deliver maximum force. His hips popped forward, throwing even more power into his torso, which rotated in its turn to add speed to the rapidly rising fist. His right shoulder, the one controlling the uppercut, was perfectly loose, not even slightly hinting at what he was about to do to me. His fist roared up, only at the last moment flexing for power before it slammed into my jaw just under my chin. My face arced up and I saw the lights above the ring blending with the lights behind my eyes before the darkness closed in and swallowed me up, the roar of the audience growing muffled in my ears as consciousness slipped away. The ref must have counted me out, but I didn't hear it. By the time I came around, my opponent was holding me close, saying something in my ear. "Good fight," he said. "I have a lot to learn."